What's going on, everybody? Ibrahim Nwagui Code Corporate Dropout University, and this is the check-in. We back. We finally back. We've been doing some adjustments, and I'm proud to say that I think that we got it together. And our first one back, I'm excited about it. Met this brother through, man, I don't even know how it even translated, because it wasn't even supposed to be all this. It was supposed to be, but you got to let the energy flow the way it flows, man. So before I even introduce him, I just want to, number one, let you guys know primarily what we are here for. We started this over a year ago. We've been checking in with our favorite entrepreneurs, hustlers, and influencers during the pandemic, and it just sprouted into something that seems like it's going to be a mainstay. But the premise is to check on those who generally do the checking, just to make sure that they are feeling up to the task. And so far so good. So with all of that out the way, I'm going to allow my guest to introduce himself and his movement, and then we go from there like we do.
Yo, what's up, man? I'm super excited and grateful to be on this platform, and serendipity around this too, because I think this is going to be a really uh, much needed check-in. You know what I mean? On that. So my name is Wayne Watts. I'm a father, a partner, activist, co-founder, creator, co-founder of the Dream Create Inspire Tour. So we'll be talking about that as well. And yeah, man, I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm excited.
Man, I'm happy to have you, bro. I know you out in Denver. I'm down in Houston. So, to number one, to have a like-minded individual like yourself, and you've already, shown that just in the short period of time that I've known you. And then also, being up from that way, how it is. When the further we get away from home, the closer
we get together. Yo, it's funny. It's funny, man. I'm linking with a bunch of guys from DC and PG. I'm from Baltimore, you know what I mean? And my guy, you know what I mean, is from the area, if you will. So it's funny, like when we spread out, we find each other. This
exactly.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. I like it.
We figure out that we got way more in common than we don't, man.
Facts.
So before I get into anything, any questions about you or your business and your initiatives, the most important question that I like to lead with, it's a very simple question, but I want to give you time to really process and answer it. And that is, sir, how are you doing?
Man, full transparency, today's tough, man. Actually had like my pops, one of his best friends just passed like 2 days ago.
I'm sorry to hear that, brother.
Yeah, man. So it's tough, not being how it is in COVID in terms of like connecting and things like that. So yeah, I would say that's why I was interested in this check-in, right? Because I was like, it's a lot of serendipity around like checking in on like how you mentally are handling things and processing things, and allowing space for grief and these different type of things. So I would say right now, today's tough. It's one of those tough days at this, and not even most of the time I'd be like, at the same time, today's tough. Grateful for it though. Like grateful for the tough days, because they make the non-tough days feel better when it's not tough.
And you are allowed to have your days, you know what I'm saying? And that's once again humanizing and normalizing entrepreneurship. This is what it is at its core. You know what I'm saying? You are very much so a part of the human family before all of that, all of the fly stuff that you're doing where you are, and even beyond where you are. This is you're a real human being, and I can relate, especially with having someone close to me pass during COVID. It's like double. You know what I'm saying? It's like double, because number one, you're already dealing with what you're dealing with from having somebody pass, but then on the same token, you can't even really send them off in the way that you probably would have done. So that's just double. So, bro, I understand, and this is a safe place, especially for us as Black men. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, it's 2021, but it still seems that there's a stigma around the way that, or how much emotion Black men are allowed to, to show before they start crossing over into the soft. I don't have it. I have
No,
none.
I think now, yo, I like this era, yo. This era, you can do it. Like, you can feel however you feel. Like, I love, like, platforms like this. I like, I Am Athlete. Like, though, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of platforms that are like showcasing that. Just heat checks. I actually got the heat check from you. So this whole week, yo, what's crazy is like, I think it was last week, I started doing a fist of 5 before all my meetings. And this is before, like, I felt bad. I was actually feeling good. It's like fist of 5, fist being the worst day ever, 5 being the best day ever. Where are you? And having those conversations right before business meetings is dope, because it, like, a lot of those conversations went real deep. My daughter gonna be in and out. She the star of this, you feel me?
Man,
she definitely
I know how it go, man. Mine at daycare, so they on somebody else's head right now.
Yeah, nah, she running it right now.
They gonna be on mine.
So, but saying that to say, you know what I mean, like, having those conversations kind of normalize the flow, because sometimes, a lot of times in business, we just hop into it like, yo, what you wanted in the entrepreneurship, a lot of it, especially when it's a small team, a lot of it's based off the energy that you are putting into the situation. So it's like a no negative space, right? Like, everything's positive, everything's such and such, you know what I mean? Like not in a fake way, but just in a way I don't see failure way, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, with that being said, taking that off and being like, yo, how's your fist of 5? Yo, I'm struggling today. Like, was empowering, because the stories I was getting was deeper conversations and deeper connections with people that I knew, people I didn't know, like, just being, you know what I mean, being like the vulnerability, and that vulnerability isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of power. That's the number one thing I learned is like the more vulnerable you are, like, I mean, like, not, you know what I mean, like, but even me saying that was a stigma on it, but saying that to say, when you're vulnerable, power comes out. So when you open that space up, because you have knowledge yourself, you have knowledge of your surroundings, and you aren't afraid to be able to showcase it, man. Listen, you don't want nothing with you don't want no problems with somebody that can do that. You know what I mean? And that's the power in it. So
100%, bro. And then I'll say this and then get off of it. It's just beautiful how African culture, right? Because my father, his family is from Nigeria, right? And so I just love the parallel, because in most of the cultures that are in our lineage, it's almost seen as taboo or disrespectful to go straight in with business without some type of small talk. So it's just amazing to see us naturally going back to the things that was really a part of our, culture to begin with. You don't just leave right in. That's something that we learn and develop here. You know what I'm saying? But it's taboo for you to, to jump right in. You really supposed to have a little small talk. Now, who's to say if it's superficial or not? Because I think that we are hybrid in making sure that it's genuine, because we know the impact. You know what I'm saying? So if I come with an attitude and you check me at the door, then you'll understand that it don't got nothing to do with this moment. I brought this from somewhere else, so I won't take it personally. Then I can actually address the business and not be, caught up in the way that you were approaching, whatever it was when you first got there. But I digress.
No, that was good, because when you said that, it made me think of, like, because usually you think of like small talk and they'd be like, man, get to the business of it. But when you said hybrid, it made me be like, yeah, that's right, because it's like, it's not even small talk, right? Like, it's really seeing and reading where we are and what we on. So like, so one of the things we do with Drink Create Inspire Tour, and I'll talk about it, in depth, but one of the things we do is workshops. So in our workshops, we do mindfulness activities before we even get to creating. Yeah. So we set aside the time to meditate for 4 minutes on the call, and clear the space. So it's the same. So either way, whether it's small talk or big talk or whatever, or check-in talk, you know what I mean? For real, I like that even better. You know what I mean? Whether it's that or whether it's meditating in the beginning, it normalizes it it gets it right, and I think you get better business out of it as well too.
100%, 100%. There's a level of empathy that has to be infused in our business dealings going forward. Like that's true. Like we've gotten to the brim of being able to really just strong arm through business. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not working anymore. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro. I might have to use that too. You said the five fist of fury.
Yeah, Fist of Fire. You
Fist
do
of Five.
Fist of Fury if you want to.
Fist of Fury.
Remix of how you put the mambo sauce on the century from there, man. You do
Come
whatever
on
you
now.
want.
Come on now. You know I gotta put that go-go flavor on that thing, man. You know how I do.
Oh,
So,
man.
bro, I've gotten away. Obviously, we're like a year out from COVID, so I'm getting away from the focus so much being COVID and more so just 2020 as a whole, and then the first part of 2021. Like, there's been so many things and so many transitions that have happened, and I know that it's had an effect on your business slash initiative. So what I like to ask is, um, what did the tour look like last year, opposed to what it looks like today?
I bet. So you mean we'll do I guess 2019 when we ran the tour, right? So like 2019 is when we ran. So how that looked like then was, us.
Well, I'll say this.
Okay.
So you ran a tour in 2019,
Yeah.
right? And you were gearing up to do something.
Yeah.
But 2020 derailed it.
Okay.
So now going forward,
Okay.
right now, you know what I'm saying? So like,
we'll start at 2020 and go to 2021 instead of, okay, bet. I'm with you.
like, so what, like, because before 2019 was gearing up for something, 2020 derailed it.
Yeah.
You're getting your footing back here in 2021. So I want to know, like, what was that moment where things shifted last year?
All right, bet. So even with that, still, I got to give a little preface of 2019 to set up, because it set us up for 2020. So like, long story short, short story long, we did a 9-city tour in 2019. When we came back from it, we were like, yo, we want to still connect with these communities. Our whole thing was a social impact tour. So it's like, hey, how can we connect artists and creatives with, like-minded individuals, and also Black and brown spaces and businesses, right? So how do we keep that relationship going and not just like, yo, we here, it was great to see you, and we jump off. So with that being said, we were like, okay, how do we do this virtually? So we started thinking of, ways to do that. And then we were scheduled to do something. We were scheduled to do an event in Chicago back September 2019. And all of the flights got canceled. We were at the airport and all the flights got canceled because it was this crazy storm. So we were supposed to, do our workshop in the morning in Chicago. Yeah. So with that being said, our virtual program started 4 a.m. like in our heads, like, yo, what are we gonna do to still work with the kids there? And from that point on, it's been like piling out virtual. So when 2020 presented itself where we at, it necessarily didn't all the way derail. So we were scheduled to do South by Southwest 2020 in person. Yeah. And that canceled. And I remember the feeling, I will never forget this, yo. It canceled. An artist let me know it canceled. Like, I was talking to an artist and they were like, hey, I'm sorry that you won't be going. I'm like, I won't be going. What you mean? And they was like, it's canceled. So I got the phone. So then you had to adjust the flights and all that type of stuff. We went out to eat as a family. It's the last time we went out to eat with a lot of people there. So it was packed. Yeah. Other conferences were canceled. She was crying. The service it was just one of those ones where you were just sitting here like, yo.
Yeah. Like, what is
it's
going
rough.
Like,
and then
something about to happen.
And then the next thought was, honestly, my next thought in my mind at dinner was, yo, tomorrow is going to be the first day of a whole lot of work. Like, we already were working, but I knew like tomorrow was that day. So with that being said, when that shut down, it actually allowed us to dig deeper into virtual workshops, building strategic partnerships around, I would say, augmented experiences. So like, yo, because COVID presents itself, or, certain states have certain limits, like, how do you still run something where somebody can potentially be in person and not have to be in person? So can they, you know what I mean, socially distant open mic? Can we do this? So you know, the other co-founder
doing the hand like you.
Exactly, right? So we're gonna show you back this interview for real. So the other co-founder of the tour, Destiny Hardney, came up with a plan to do a visual mixtape.
Yeah.
In 2020, September 2020, we launched our first visual mixtape in partnership with Nightlights Denver here in the theater district in Denver, and started taking over the tower and doing content there. So I guess what I would say is 2020 didn't derail anything. It made for a lot of shifts and adjustments, but it also was an accelerator to a path that we were on, right? Okay. So I just want to, that's why I said to say it was a catalyst. So it wasn't one like 2020 threw everything. No, 2020 was like, hey, look, it's Jumanji out here. But listen, Robert Williams, you know what I mean? You gotta come home, you know what I mean? So like, what we doing? And that's exactly what it was. But that mindset of it was started before 2020. So that 2020 was like a test. And I would say 2021's test right now is with not going back to normal, but with the new phase of what things will be, having spaces where people are tired of these, right? Like people are tired of like being on Zooms and the burnout. Like that. But like, and then people want to be together, but you also have social anxiety. It's a term my homeboy out here coined social rust, right? So the of being around it. How do you develop spaces for people to interact that haven't been interacting because of health reasons and still keep the health, you know what I mean? As effective, but still fostering those type of relationships. So right now is an interesting time of like, you know, developing that so that our, you know, our content this summer and this fall has a chance to you know, further enhance what we're doing. Because our whole thing really, our mission is to entertain, provide experiences. Let me get that back. I said it, you know what I mean? Our mission is to entertain and provide soul enriching experiences. And the whole thing about it is making a incubator for Black and brown creators. So like where you can have a place to make your art, have a place to showcase your art, and then connect to people who want to be a part of your art. And that's what we do. So I would say 2021 is how are we, you know, being able to do that and utilize the best of both worlds of it being virtual and in person coming back. Because now it gives us a chance to do engaging things on the international level. You know what I mean? Or, you know. Yeah.
And while I got you right here, I want you to let us go back beyond 2019, right? Let's go back beyond 2019 because I want people, whoever watches this, I want them to grasp the magnitude of what it is that you have created. And I think for them to do that, you gotta understand, well, what did it come from? And what was the goal and how did we get here? Now, you know, of course, you know, I'm not saying, you know, you got to give me every single like, oh yeah, man, it was a cold, dark night, whatever.
I remember. It was a Thursday.
And then the somber music coming in the background and the you know, all that. But just walk me back to the inception of what it is that you're doing. Like, where did this even come from? Like, I'm just a Joe Smo off the street. What is this?
All right, bet. Yo, so here's how I started. So back in at the end of 2017, I'm an artist as well. So I had an album I released called Nowadays. And the thesis of the album, if you will, was really around intergenerational connection. And we're saying the same things, like it's just a different time period. So let's try to connect that. Like a Muddy Waters record is pretty similar to a Young Thug in that is blues and one is trap and blues. You know what I'm saying? So like that was the idea behind it. So me and my partner like sat down and was like, yo, look, yo, want to go on tour for the album. Want to do some dope free events in the city, you know, promoting it. And each event we do is loosely based off of one of the songs. So we had game nights, we had sipping socials, we had a mindfulness day. These are all themes that were on the project. So then we were like, yo, look, we want to take this on tour. And when we brought that to like, you know, friends, they were like, yo, that's cool, but had it be a movement and not just, you know, music with it, right? So we decided to write down on paper the things we were doing outside of the album, and it was doper than the music. It was like, yo, look, yo, like I'm doing workshops, you do community events, we make partnerships. These events have been lit out here. Like we're not like, we didn't go into like being like club promoters and things like that. We wanted to make cool little pop-ups for our friends and people that liked the things that we like to do. Like we had a 90s game night that had like the old Sega, the you know, Nintendo. We had a cereal bar, but we had, you know what I mean, liquor with it as well. So it's like you get a hybrid of like, oh man, little me is happy as I don't know what right here. You know what I'm saying? But saying that to say, how do we then take that and what did we turn it into? So we, you know, we decided to go the Kickstarter route. And that then kind of tightened up pieces because it's, I would say so anybody watching this, and I talk a lot, but a lot of time, like my focus is really to like leaders, like, you know what I mean? So young legends and leaders looking at it. For us, crowdfunding helped out a lot because it centralized an idea. It tested the discipline of execution. It had us have to develop a plan and implement the plan and then change the plan, had to take feedback and criticisms. Like we shot the first Kickstarter video and we sent it to friends and it was like, I don't know what y'all trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, but we try to do all these different type of things. Like, I don't know what it didn't say in that video. You know what I'm saying? But saying that to say that was good because it was like still sharp and still. So then going back, shooting it again, the second one, like the second video we shot was good. So we was able to raise $15,000, go on the tour. And then here's what happened in the tour. While we're going to these different cities, our thing was to really support local. So we were doing like local pop-ups and then bringing in artists from Denver to then connect with like a cultural exchange with artists and musicians that were in those cities. So we come to Houston, we bring in the artists here, but we have the band from Houston. It's a dope spot here. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's kind of what it was. And when we finished that, it was like, oh, this is an organization now. You know what I mean? So then it developed into pillars of like, well, workshops is a place for you to make IP and learn about IP and do that. And then it's like second pillar, community events. All right, this is a place for you to showcase it, open mics and different ways. And then third became this new thing of like our strategic partnerships. Like, who do you partner with? Like, and facilitating those partnerships. So like, because what we started noticing is that it's a lot of dope stuff happening across the country, which everybody knows that. Like, I mean, you go to any city, somebody gonna be like, yo, that guy runs the best events, or she runs the best events, or they run the best event, right? What we started noticing was like, what if we just start connecting all the people that's dope? Like, yo, you doing something dope, like they doing something dope. And it's a new era, right? New era, new legend. So it's not like the era of competition, right? Like where it's like, yo, I'm trying to get 50 on you. It's like, no, we trying to win. So it's the era of collaboration. And that era we've been suited for, we've been made for that. So that's it's passing the plug, you know what I mean? And just the power in, you know, being your own plug so that you don't have any insecurities around passing it on to other people where you like, yo, this person doper than me. Y'all should link. You know what I'm saying? And that really is the spirit behind what we do. And sidebar, I said our mission wrong when I did before, but please keep in mind, I said, you know, it's been a lot going on in my mind, so I'm gonna say it right.
Man, you at home, bro.
Make sure we had that day. I'm gonna put this down on the tape, you know what I mean? Because they're gonna go back and like, that's not what it said on the website. Yeah, you know what I mean? But just go ahead.
Nah, bro, you at home, bro. I mean, I already told you that. So anybody coming on my junk, with the negativity. That's
no, it's for perpetuity, because these sessions, like I have with you, and this is why I love doing it, is how I think, being an artist, how I think is like, these spaces are places for people, generations that I may not get a chance to interact with, to be able to see and decipher and break down. So I'm not even thinking about the ones that's coming in there. I know how dope you are, you know what I'm saying, and where this will live. So you know what I mean? So 20, 30 years when somebody like, well, that mission was actually, I just want to make sure I'm correct. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. This is documentation right here.
Yeah, it's an archive.
Yeah, this is the archive. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm following you on that, bro. Man, you hit so many. You hit a few things that I'm like, yeah, that's it right there. But I think the biggest thing that stood out to me was the collab versus competition.
Yeah.
And having confidence in your ability to produce. You know what I'm saying? Because I've toiled with that for many years in terms of like, why is this cycle? It seems like there's a cycle, right? Somebody makes it, right? And then they have a heart to bring. And it's almost 9 times out of 10, it's not good enough for somebody. And that someone will then, pull down either your legacy or just, your character, or really actually like physically try to pull you down. And I just toil with, well, what's the flaw in that? And I think that the flaw is, it's like you said, the people that you have around you, even though they may have a specific function for you, right? They may not be the main function, but they have a specific function for you, but they still have to be producers on some level for themselves, right? Because if you have a producer's mindset, then you won't, to me, this is my opinion, you won't look at a person who may seem like they're the higher tier than you at the moment as like, oh, well, the only way that I can be successful is if I knock this person out the way. So I think, to me, I think there's a certain type of mentality that you have to have. And there's a certain type of person that you have to have around you in your business dealings where they understand their value.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's what you hit the head on the nail or whatever on that in terms of value. Because I think you can have it a couple different ways. Like, I wouldn't say you have to have all producers around you. I think it's just the energy synergy around the values, right? Like your values. What are y'all trying to accomplish? Because I think those different type of skill sets align and have different things to them. Us being producers, right? Like if you want to say both of us are producers, but I can only really speak for producers. I can't speak for the other skill sets that aren't producers that are still like MVPs. You know what I'm saying? Because like you have a producer, but it's a lot of who's the detail person in that, who's the connector, right? But I'll speak to producers though, and from that I think is to be a dope producer, you have to have the confidence in your ability and not let insecurities get in the way of you seeing somebody make something dope and say like in competition with them. So just for the producer head of it, it's like, and I think one way to alleviate that or get rid of it is two things I've seen. So this is my advice. I always say in these, like, follow it if you want to, whatever, but these are two things. One is, if you produce more than one thing, then you're good. Like, doesn't have to be 5 things, but if you've known you made one thing and then you made something completely different, then you know that you can make things.
Yeah.
And now if you only can make one thing, that's harder because that one thing may not be as valuable at different times. So you're holding on to this one thing. But once you know that you can make something else, so like if you rap, but you also can make clothes, you're good. You know what I'm saying? If you program it, but you also can be an accountant, you're good. Now, if you like only do one, I can't give advice on that because I don't know what that is. I know like if you could do 2, and then the other one I would say is in terms of that is everybody that I've seen that's super dope in the interviews or whatever it is when I'm researching them, the doper they are, the more they're like, yo, other people are dope. Like if you look at Quincy Jones interviews,
Yeah.
Quincy Jones is shouting out everybody. Oh, this person, and I was playing with this person, and this person, and oh man, this person's great. Like because they just want to share the energy around dope things being made. You know what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
they know like that each piece is important, right? So the ones that have that one thing off usually kind of guarded and feel like, yo, this is the best.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
It's
This is
the
my
only,
ticket.
this is the classic, nobody better than me, nobody yada yada. And that era right now isn't that. Like for right now in our time, that just ended. Like it's really like you only as dope as everybody. Like you know what I mean? Like so this right here, the synergy between both of us equals dope. Like not
100%.
like you know what I mean? So
100%, bro. And I'll just say, I'll clarify. When I think of when I use the word produce, I mean in whatever capacity that you are commissioned, right? Because now, as the leader, so I think that leader, you have to be able to see the greatness in other people, and you have to understand that you can probably get here by yourself, maybe even here by yourself, really, in comparison to where you can really go if you really link up with more people and they have different, y'all can have the same type of mentality, or y'all can have different things y'all bring to the table, but it's like you said, bro, it's not going to happen as I'm about to jump out there magnanimously.
okay, break that down. What's that word? I've never heard that word in my life. Go ahead, yo.
Magnanimously.
I swear to God,
I'm hoping.
Listen,
you talk about archives.
I'm gonna use this word, yo. Tell me explain what this word is. I promise you, I'm using this word this week. Next interview y'all see me in, I'm using this.
Next interview y'all see me in, I might be apologizing for using this joint wrong.
Yeah, even way I'm using it, it's a word now. If it wasn't a word,
but I mean, and from sometimes I just pick up words and then I don't even know where I got them from.
Hey, man,
but I think it's just like bandwidth, just like as I didn't want to say largely, but it's just to capacity.
Yeah,
the capacity in which that you can execute what it is you set out to execute. You got to have strategic partners, and you just got to have people around you that share that same, like you said, like I love the word synergy, and so I even get hyped the fact that you use it so much because I love that word, bro.
It's because it's that 1 + 1 = 3 or 1 + 1 = 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to go back to what you said, as you know, the solo leader, I ain't gonna hold you. You may hit. So when you did this, and you said here, yo, you may hit here, but you're not sustaining here. You may hit it and you coming right back down. But to sustain it, it's gonna take, that. And it's also like, I would say, a thing that I'm interested in right now and working on and developing. And trying to get better on is just creating culture around what you do, right? Like, I mean, and it's one thing that, come from our culture, and it's one thing to experience other cultures. It's another thing to curate cultures based off of these things. So you're taking different principles and have it be applied to a business model that has social impact for good, as well as capital, which would be included in that, so it's like, but the culture around it that you want, the energy that you want to have around your brand or around your organization and within it, because sometimes a lot of times those are two different things. Some people see from the outside and you're like, yo, I would love, I was inside, you're like, what's going on? Or sometimes it's dope inside, but it doesn't look like it outside. So it's like how, how do you do that is a thing that I'm, studying and working on right now.
Man, I'm eager to see what's next. I'm going to try to peek into what's next. So,
all right.
What does the next year look like? What does the next year look like for for you as an individual, for your movement? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Bet. So I'll say this, for the squad. So with Drink Create Inspire Tour, this year we are launching the first ever By Any Dream Necessary virtual festival.
Yeah.
So more details to come, but what that looks like is a cross-city augmented experience with some live sessions, some projections off of towers, some asynchronous content, and dope opportunities to network in person and on the app as well. So that's what it looks like right now.
100%.
We're shooting what we're looking for, and I'll give a little bit. We'll have one weekend in August, one weekend in September, and kind of what I was, hinting at before in terms of 2020 when we were talking about like setups. One of the things that happened was that like a lot of the major players had, when it's a big organization or a big thing like that, had to shut down because of it's hard to have the same tour experience in Houston as it is in Boston, as it is in Memphis. So how do we do this? So they're like, well, let's set it out until it's there where we're small enough to be able to make the adjustments, on the ground. So it allows us to be able to learn from models that they have. So if you think of like how, a Made in America has 2 weekends, or Broccoli City or Coachella has, 2 weekends, we're able to take that 2-weekend approach and augment it and focus in on our niche of, local, and really making sure you're connecting local, so that it's not local anymore. I mean, it's local and it's not local at the same time. You know what I mean? So
Look,
if I'm
bro,
like, that's what's the dopest thing.
I understand 100%. This once again, bro. And this is like the more that I talk to you, the more that I just look at it like, bro, you like the. I mean, I'm not look you. I ain't gonna. I'm not saying that you like. I'm just like so this and you the whatever version of me. You 100%. But like the way that you see like art and music and culture is the way that I see and approach and want to magnify Black entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just because every time you say something like, bro, that's okay. That's what we doing. Okay. So I'm just excited to see it, man, because I'm like, whatever I can do, I'm like, sign me up for it, bro, 100%. Because I believe in the energy that you're putting off, and then there's the results. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, like I said, I already talked to you offline. Like I'm a student. You know what I'm saying? No matter what I've done, I'm a student, bro. And so flowers given to what you created thus far. Now, you've already given, quote unquote, your brand of advice, right? Okay. Kind of. You giving some jewels. And I know that you have your slogan, but I want you to dig in a little bit deeper.
Okay.
And give us your brand of advice, but I want it to be pointed at a specific person. When you give this brand of advice, I want it to be pointed to either an aspiring entrepreneur or an entrepreneur who's just gotten beat up by life and thinking about stepping away from, their passion. That's who this is pointed to.
Okay. So, like, all right, I'm gonna answer this. It may not be the way you would want me to answer it, but I answer it like this. And the reason why I do it is this, yo, because I study interviews, right? So, like, I would say, I got gurus in terms of interviews. So, like, Nikki Giovanni is like one of my gurus in terms of interviews and how she answers questions and when she decides to answer them and things like that. So, how I'm gonna answer this question is actually speaking to myself, because I'm both of those at different times. As an entrepreneur or someone that just has a dream to do something, you're faced with those moments of like, yo, I should just stop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I want to speak to me. I'm an only child, so a lot of times I go deflect and be like, yo, I'm too self-absorbed to whatever, you know what I mean? But I'll say this, yo. Here's what I say to myself.
Bro. Me too.
Here's what I say to myself on it. And if it applies to you, then it's dope, whoever's watching, is when you're about to give up, first, meditate.
Okay.
Breath is important, just in your body to breathe, processing, slow down your breath. Secondly, say what you're thankful for in that moment. So whatever it is, if it's I was able to walk today, if it was, I woke up, whatever it is, say it. And then think about the moments that you've been afforded of joy from following what you actually believe in and how freeing that feels. And whatever comes to your mind with that space, either write it down to jot down how you felt so you can go back and reflect on it, or jot down that idea that comes from just that space. What I'm talking about is like just creating space between the friction that you feel with life. Yeah. So when you're able to have that space between friction, that's where all the dope shit lie. Like it's all like all the classics or all the shit that comes out that's whatever. Not all of it, but half of it comes that way. Another of it comes when you're just in pure joy of something. But a lot of it comes from like that resistance that you feel. So if you get a little space between resistance, innovation always finds its way to peek in. And that's when, you know what I mean? That's what I would say. That's what I would say to it, yo. So that's no cliche. That's none of this stuff. I've never said it that way on no other interview. I'm not gonna say it no other way that way. You so my
this
man.
A Mopra moment.
Yeah, yo, I didn't say it that way. Like that's what it is, yo. I mean, I would say that, and for me, I like spaces that I go to is, when things were open, the steam room was my spot. The steam room and the sauna was my church. You know what I mean? I go there and that. The other thing I would say is tap into nature. So if that's not it, nature for me is my other thing. So if I'm able to do this whole thing I just said around nature and take nature in, and looking down at my daughter smile and stuff like that from it, I don't know, just doing that and be okay to say that you're not okay. I'm giving it all out because I'm gonna watch this myself when I'm down. You know what I mean? So like, be okay to say that you're not okay when you're not okay. Because it makes you stronger for when you are okay. You're not even okay now. Now you're great. You know what I'm saying? So like, a lot of people be in our positions that's on the come up and the grind, and you like tucking in your emotions, you tucking in your whatever, but you get to whatever that level we thought success was. Right. We've been successful this whole time. Like this part of a success. You know what I mean? But when we do it, we like, no, when I'm successful, I'll be able to do. When you get there, you've dehumanized yourself and you've stripped yourself of all the emotions to even be able to feel the dope stuff, because you had to numb yourself these different ways through whatever it is, through like, microaggressions. You numb it through like how you respond to one, or you numb it through drinking alcohol, or you numb it through lust, or whatever you numb it through. But you know what I'm saying? So saying that to say like, taking ownership when it's not okay. And yeah. And you dope. That's the last one. You already dope, yo. You dope. Like you was born dope. To be black is to be dope. You know what I mean? And to be gold. And you know what I'm saying? So like, you already dope. Your ancestors been dope. It's in you to be dope.
Your drip.
Yeah, your drip, whatever, however y'all want to translate it, bust it down, you feel me?
All that.
You that. And man, you got them on your back, yo. So like, they with you in this whole fight. So it's not just you fighting it. It's people you don't even know that got that your spirit had to come in contact with before to even get that vibe. It's people, you know what I mean? Like relatives that you ain't even really know that read this poem, that then told your mother this, that then became part of something. You don't even know how dope you are. It's all embedded in it. So I would say that don't forget that you dope. Yeah.
Man, that's mic drop. I ain't got no rebuttals. I ain't got no additives. I ain't got nothing to say to that, my brother. I agree 101%.
What would you say though? No, what would you say? I know this is just showing you've done them on all, but based on today, like, what would you say? Like, what advice would you give somebody?
I would go with as a matter of fact, I just posted my Monday morning motivation, and I think that that's like a staple in my life, and it's strategy over emotion. And to me, what that means is I think that it was taught to me that emotions are great servants and poor masters, if that makes sense. So
Elaborate, bust it down for me.
so you need your emotions to serve you, but not to guide you, not to lead your life. You cannot allow emotions to lead your life. Now, they have, to me, they have their place, but the 9 times out of 10, the emotional response in the moment, it could go either way. And sometimes it's needed, but to me, if that's your go-to in every situation, I think that even when I look at certain groups of people where the culture is to have an emotional reaction in every single moment, I think that the progress is it's not as pointed.
What are you defining as like, what are you defining as emotion though? Because I would, on the flip side, say, as an artist, emotion is your master in terms of connecting, right? Like, because like you emotionally connecting and tapping in
Mm-hmm.
is the key. If I strategically come in and say I strategically want to make a song to Pack Your Life, it's strategically going to be trash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if I come in, I think it's like the balance of knowing what I want to do and the balance of emotion. But in art, emotion is really like essential to know what your emotions. So that's why I wanted to ask, like, what would you view emotion? Because I would argue that like I'm mad, I'm super emotional in this thing. You go back and see how much emotion I put in the words that I said, but also a strategy with it. You know what I'm saying? So I guess
Emotions are great
servant.
servants,
Okay. All right.
poor
Okay.
masters.
Okay.
So there's a
I don't
place.
know.
To me, there's a
Okay.
place in creation, and in certain scenarios, that's where it lives, right? I'll give you an example. So this will probably give you, I'm more of an analogy type of person,
All right,
right?
bet.
So I'll give you more of an example. Um, an impulse, right? At 4:30 in the morning, when I first wake up, I may not feel like doing anything. I may not feel like doing anything. I may not want to roll out of bed. If I do roll out of bed, I may not want to etch out time to pray. If I do pray, I may not want to etch out time to work out. I may not want to do anything, right? But in that moment, if I rely on my emotions and my feelings, then I'll stay in the bed. If I rely on, if I trust in my strategy, my routine, then I know from day in and day out that by the time I just make myself get out of that bed, make myself get on that floor, make myself transition from gratitude to working out, by the time I finish that last push up, the emotion that I was in, the feelings that I had when I first woke up at 4:30, now at 5:30, I feel like I can attack the day. I'm ready to do what I got to do. But in that moment, that and I'm saying, like, when I say emotion, I'm just talking about just your impulses, right? Because sometimes you got to let it live, right? And sometimes you don't know, right? Sometimes you don't know what it's going to be. But to me, and from my journey, I know that at one point in time, I'm a Gemini, bro. So at one point in time, like, I lived by my impulses. I woke up every morning, I'm like, I don't know what's about to happen? We just gonna be an adventure every single day.
Yeah.
And I looked at myself at a certain age after my entire 20s just being an impulse person, and I'm like, okay, now I want stuff, and I keep trying to get it, but I keep missing the mark. And it's not like financial things per se. I mean, they can produce financial things, but it's just like the I would constantly be in stressful situations because I lack the discipline to like to curb my feelings in the moment. Like, man, I don't feel like doing this shit. So
yeah, I hear you. I think for me on it, I think it's just a difference between impulse and emotions, because I think the synergy between emotion and strategy, right? Like that hybrid of the two makes for really dope. Like when you like, you know what I'm saying? Meaning like the impulse, but I guess that's like, because I guess it's like, I think it's taken like, for me, emotion isn't just the bad emotions that happen. But if you talk about the working out part, so I may wake up and emotionally I don't want to do it, but in my mind it says, you know, if you do this, then you'll do it. So I guess if that's the master of it, right? Like, but then it changes
that's the mastering of it. So it serves you throughout the day.
So is the then strategy a bad servant but a good master?
I think that strategy puts you, if once you learn yourself, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what works for you, then no matter how you feel, if you do that, if you can commit yourself to doing what works, then you can, more than likely, you could probably get to whatever goal you're trying to get to, right? And so then, and then on top of that, think about, so I know you said like the negative emotion and the good emotion, the bad emotion. So when I think of emotion, I think of like a reaction, right? I think of a reaction. I think of, as soon as something happens to me, I'm, and in some instances, you have to be able to just go into autopilot and take care of business, do what you got to do, right? But in majority of my interactions, it went from, I was completely impulsive. If you give me if I get stimulated from you, then I'm immediately reacting, and it's not necessarily going to serve me. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily going to serve me, right? Like if you say something that gets to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I just react, well then there was an opportunity to work through that emotion, but I didn't even give myself a chance.
I'm with you. I think that the way we disagree on it is, I'm separating the emotion from the response to the emotion, because I think the emotion is the first pure, like the purity of what happens, but how you respond to it isn't always the same as the emotion. Let's say like case in point, somebody disrespects you, right? You feel the emotion. How you respond to that changes based off of these different type of things. So that's why I was saying like the emotion though is needed, because without the emotion doing a co-master thing, sometimes you just get caught in the strategy and your heart, you didn't realize that your heart's not in it no more. So you still with it, you like, yo, I should have been gave this business up. Or like, yo, I should have been, you know what I'm saying? I should have been left this company, but I'm just caught into, I'm following my master all the way here. But the emotion was telling you, no, it's not right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, how you respond to it's not right is different. You see what I'm saying? Like, you may respond to it's not right by like going out and punching somebody in the face. Like, you know what I'm saying? You upset, take it on somebody else. You may respond to it by shutting off. You may respond to it by being assertive. How you respond to the emotion is a completely different thing. But like to not trust the emotion. Like, I'm not saying not trust it, but like that's a big thing. Like the emotion has to be, I don't know. I mean, I think they feed each other. You know what I'm saying? Because emotionally, when you say something, I visually have an emotion, you know? And that part for me has been beneficial to be able to respond to. Now, how I respond to it is up to me. You know what I'm saying? It's up to now. Your response to it needs to be in line with whatever. You know, that's the only thing I wanted to say from. Yeah.
So then now I see
That's
the
lit.
disconnect.
Yeah.
I think that's where the disconnect is,
Yeah.
right? Because like the way I say it, it makes it seem like emotion's bad and strategy is good.
Yeah,
but
that's all I want. Yeah,
No. The way that I mean this is your like you can't control your initial reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, so let's just say this, right? Because I keep saying it. Emotions are great servants for poor masters. If your emotions master, if you don't have, if your emotions master you, then that means that there is no filter, right? So you don't even give yourself a chance to process. Is this where I express this right here, or should I wait? Should I give it? I remember my father used to tell me this. He said, if you really, I mean, I might not need to even say, but my father told me one time, he said, if you really feel like you need to hurt somebody, right? Wait a year. And if you still feel the same exact
way, you probably should want to hurt them. Yeah.
Trying to hurt them.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm still going to allow, if that emotion is still there, then I'm going to allow it to express itself. But what I'm saying, I guess I need to work on a different wording because.
No, you good. This sidebar. This is lit. This is a teachable lesson right here. This is like, yeah, man, I like this.
Emotions are good.
Yeah, emotions are great.
You need emotions, like, because that's your guide, right? To like your impulse is there, right? But I know you've learned over a period of time, right, in your life that you want to have some level of a barrier of giving yourself a small window in most cases to at least process, because if your emotion comes straight out, you may not even know where it's coming from, right? So think about this even speaks to the five fists, right?
Yeah.
Emotion, let's just say it's emotion, right? Like I came to the meeting with a heavy heart.
Yeah.
Right? This is really the perfect metaphor. I came to the meeting with a heavy heart, and if you don't do this little buffer thing, I'm coming right into your meeting with a heavy heart, and you don't know where it's coming from. So you're gonna take offense to it, and then we not seeing eye to eye. We could be beaten for the rest of our life for that, right? I came and disrespected your space, and you felt offended by it, and you just can't rock with me like that. But you gave that buffer for me to say, you know what, bro, man, I'm glad you asked. Like, somebody just spit on me. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? And then so now you can process, like, oh, okay, whatever is after this, which it really should be diffused, right?
Yeah.
But whatever is after this in this meeting, if he does, I know that he had something. It don't got nothing to do with me. Yeah. But that's like the processing window. Even when somebody asks me something, like, even if I know the answer right away, I may just be like, let me think about it, right?
Yeah,
or I may say, you know what, man, it's a good deal. Yeah, let's do it. But I'm making a decision. My emotions not leading me. I might see a shiny red car and be like, oh, damn, this joint tight. Let me get it. You know what I'm saying? And even though I might still get it that day, I might say, just for a split second, like, do I really want to get this right now? Or do I even care that it's gonna mess up my credit right now? Do I even care? I might, you know what? I don't care. Yeah, let's get it. But I'm at least giving myself a fighting chance because I don't like excuses. Like, I don't like for anyone to have proverbial. I don't think anybody has control over anybody, right? I think that we all have governance over ourselves, and we all have the ability to make decisions. So even if you pop off and you just had an emotional outburst, that don't mean I gotta let it go, right? Because if you had some level of emotional intelligence, then you will be able to govern your emotions to serve you.
And I think that's where we at. So I think the place where I feel there's agreement is really the balance. Like, just be like balanced emotion, like balanced it, like just when you're balanced, I think, and balance does require, you know, different approaches to balance. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's strategy, sometimes it's emotion, because I could lead in and say like, yo, how you feeling right now? To me, from a strategy wise, I may feel like that's getting off of track business wise. But I led with emotion and automatically, that strategies rose up. That was a strategy. I didn't even realize it was strategy. I was just trying, you know what I mean, talk it through. So sometimes the other way around, like, yo, I see this, let me do the strategy part. I'm not really feeling this, but then in the strategy brings the emotion to come in. So it's this yin and yang. Because go back to what you said, because I think it was like, yo, your pastor was like, yo, if somebody wanted, before you go to hurt somebody, take a whole year, I want to also put to whoever's watching it, do all of the things that would be balanced. Like, so like that would be like in that year that you take, balance yourself accordingly. You know what I mean? Go through, and it may not be a year for you, whatever it is, but balance out however those things are. Like, be balanced. When you make a decision, have it be a balanced decision from the balance of emotion, strategy, mental, all of those different type of things in effect before you make decision. You know what I mean? Before you make a decision. Yeah.
Man, I'm bro, we might have to make this a more consistent.
Hey man, I'm here for it. It raised my mood. Y'all ain't gonna boat you. I ain't even ask you. My bad. I was bad on my fist of five because this is just showing I ain't want to start it with fist of five. How were you before we started this conversation, and then how are you now? So I just like, you know what I mean?
Man, I actually I was great. I'm even better now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always get like a pinch, a tiny pinch of nervousness before I do my check-ins. Even though I've been doing them, I've spoken in front of I've taught all that stuff. Anytime I get ready to just like have an open-ended conversation with somebody, I always kind of have a little pinch. So I just like that, you see, I was texting you, I was making sure we was
good. That's good. No, but that's the emotion. That's the good thing about, because that means you care about it. And that's like that's dope. Like, it's always the little bit of jitters. Not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It keeps you gotta feel into it. Because if you didn't, you was like, look, it would come off and I could feel it. Yeah, I got the text at the time, you know what I mean? I like it, yeah.
Yeah, man. No, I'll be like, it'll be, so we supposed to go on at 1. I'll be like, all right, 11:59. I'll be right there with the button, like, all right, we going on in an hour, bro. Just making sure we good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, so, that's dope.
No, but it's also excitement. You know what I'm saying? Because I rock with what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And I think that energy is real. So the way that it even came about, I love those types of connections probably more than anything else. It's just like, oh damn, what? Oh, okay, let me holler at you, and then it turns into what it turns into. So yeah, I was excited. Today is my my Saturday from my 9 to 5. So I'm chilling, man. Even though I got a bunch of stuff to do, but I was excited, bro. And I was also, I was excited about, the people that you connected me with. Hopefully, they reach back out. I will follow up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be the annoying.
They dope. They super dope. Like, both of them super dope. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna put them on blast on this one right here, but they dope. And I just seen synergy around it. You know what I mean? So it just makes sense.
Man, so here we are. What does support look like for you?
Support for me, I would say, so support looks like, break that down. Give me examples.
As your community, your extended community, whether it's financial partnerships, just literally like getting the word out or watching your content, like, how can we as your community lift you up further than where you are?
I would say, first off the top of my head, so my soul spoke to say this: share the energy that I give out.
100.
Doesn't have to be the same way. It's not supposed to be the same way. But if you got energy from what I gave out in any capacity. And it fits in how you are able to take your energy and use it some way. That's just dope to me. I just love how energy exchanges, you know? So that's one. Second one, specifically the Drink, Create, Inspire Tour. If you believe in our mission and what we do, reach out to us. Like, we're always building a team. We always want to be able to we always want to be able to be a place, a safe space for community genius. You know what I'm saying? It's a guy,
Gotcha.
Jaden, that coined this phrase, that community genius. Shout out to my guy, you know what I mean, Jaden, that did that. But a space for places to be built, to be incubated, to cross-pollinate ideas. We just love that and creativity. So if you're interested in those different type of things, you can follow us on IG at Drink, Create, Inspire Tour. You can go to our website, drinkcreateinspiretour.com. And yeah, hit us up. Me specifically, you can hit me up on my LinkedIn page, you know, as well. You can hit me up on IG. Wayne Watts is dope. Like I said, I do music. I do some other things there. So that's what it looks like. As far as, you know, support, that's what I would say. Yeah. And I want this. I'm going to speak this into existence. This thing that we have here, I want to have more conversations with corporate dropouts, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yes.
On a quarterly basis of just checking in with a couple of it. You know what I'm saying? So we just hopping in. How you feeling? Because whenever you're making something and you're trying different things, there's this nervousness, there's this anxiety, there's sometimes a depression, there's sometimes euphoria, there's sometimes just joy about stuff that other people wouldn't even know there's joy in. You know what I mean? Where you're like, yo, I just got this back. And people are like, what? They just see joy in the award that comes out. But our joy being the smallest of things, like, yo, this person responded to an email
exactly.
And we see the play happening. So like, some people need to see the award. We see the play to get the award. So when we get to the award, it's like, actually, that play was hard. So I want to have an award show for hustlers to give out, you know what I mean, trophies to people in those spaces in those spaces, and also spaces for us to kind of talk when we give out those awards. So it's like, man, I don't need no Grammy. I got this award from this. Exactly. And it's a community around it that like wasn't just us giving an award on like the Resilience Award. You know what I'm saying? Or you could have quit, but you didn't award. But we, you know, that quarter we discussed certain things. So I want to have like a hustler mastermind group. You know, with
man, look, bro, I'm like I said, man, I'm on board. And even to speak on that, like them little small wins. Now, I will like take a couple of days back.
Yeah,
you know, I was feeling beat up a couple of days back. You know, with just the grind and trying to make sure that I'm consistent and just giving people something to let them know that I'm still around. And I ended up, one of my homegirls flew in from DC down here. So of course, whenever people come, I do the loop. I take them to the places that that I know, and I pulled up on one of my other homegirls who has a coffee shop / boutique / barbershop over in Montrose. And when I go and I talk to her, I'm telling they know each other. I'm like, she's like, oh yeah, Mo, by the way, man, I linked up with your boy Joey, and I was like, really? I'm like, how? And then she was like, yeah, remember he did a check-in. And so when he did a check-in, like I followed up with him, and like he been helping me with my business tax. And that hit me. I was like, okay, like it's actually somebody actually like made a connection.
That's powerful, bro.
And so that joint just set with me. So like I was like, okay, like I gotta like let me make sure that I have Wayne on here, and let me make sure that I get my roster back up, and you know what I'm saying, like.
This like the new How I Built This. It's like, so How I Built This NPR podcast where they talk to people after they built something and they come in and tell them whatever. This is like while I'm building this. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So the while I'm building this is very dope, because the How I Built This is dope. You know what I mean? Shout out to them. Yeah. But the how I'm building this currently, oh man, what you'll have in terms of who's on these check-ins is to hear them at that moment of doing it, bro. This is dope. It's powerful, man. So I appreciate you.
You get it, bro. You get it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's not. I already know everybody that I talk to gonna be like to the moon. I already know it. But I feel like you guys' stories are dope now. Like even before like the rest of the world figure out who the hell y'all are. Like I'm like, man, I'm watching these people peripheral. I'm like, man, like before they even do
They
anything,
so
like
far gone Drake. So it's like people who knew so
yeah,
far, when you heard so far gone was like, this is gonna be a problem. This is gonna be different. And then you
yeah,
had, you know what I mean? So you catching people on and they J. Cole the come up in the warm-up tapes.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or the Wiz early tape, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's
Wiz tapes.
it's a great
Back when he was still sounding like a Philly guy.
you see what I'm saying? Shout out to Pittsburgh. But sidebar, when we get off here, I got something to tell you for real that's due today. So when we get off, I got something to tell you.
Don't go nowhere.
Yeah.
All right, with you, man. Look, on that note, man, look, we're gonna wrap this up. First and foremost, to you, sir, I want to thank you for indulging me and all of my questions and my statements. I also want to thank you for letting me have my Eastern region energy, man, I'm down here, man. Like sometimes I get too loud. They like, oh man, are you angry? I'm like, no, I'm not angry.
I just need a place to be.
That's a real thing. Be loud, man.
I need a place to just be loud at for a second.
Exactly. So thank you.
I appreciate it.
You done brought me back. You brought me up, man. I'm like, yeah.
Same, man.
My wife gonna be like, are you okay? I'm be like, yeah, I'm good. Like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry, baby. I know you ain't from there. You don't get
it. Hey, man, that's what it is, man. Well, thank you so much. And then we still on here, though, right?
Yeah, well, and before I even let you go, I also want to thank everybody who will see this. To all of the faithful followers, thank you for sticking with us. For all the newcomers, welcome. And of course, like I say at the end of everything, if you don't know the motto by now, shame on you. If your hustle motivates and you're a motivated hustler, then you got to check in. And we out on that. Peace.
Hakuna Matata.
All that, man.
Yo, so here's what I'm